Hi, everybody. I'm LPL Licensed Sales Assistant Jason Parkin at Compass Financial Services in West Des Moines. I'm joined by our founder, one of the owners, Kurt Pearson, who's also an advisor here. We've been doing this pandemic thing. We've been going through this for about 6 weeks, and people have gone through a lot of emotion during that time. And I think all of us are trying to wrap our minds around. I don't like the phrase "the new normal" because I think it's kind of pessimistic. I hope it's a temporary normal, but or maybe thinking about the future and what it's going to look like. And frankly, I think people are processing some grief with this as well.
Yeah, the reason that I want to talk a little bit about the emotional angle of it is because so much of how we look and handle our finances comes back to our thought patterns and how we're really looking to the future and how we're thinking about the future. And so here at Compass, we're kind of following kind of a 4-step outline to help us, I guess, as kind of a benchmark or kind of a hook to hang our hat on as we go through this whole process. And the first step is processing what we're seeing and what we're noticing. Now, you've probably noticed that the news changes every day related to the virus. What can we believe? What can't we believe? We're really in the fog of war right now, where they say a great battle plan works well until the first shot is fired. Well, the shot has been fired, the virus is here, and it's having an impact. And now everything seems to be changing so fast. How do you process that? What range of emotions are you having related to that? And I think the most important thing about the processing stage, Jason, is that we don't get stuck, that we continue to see movement in how we're processing our emotions. Movement, ironically, is always important. Sometimes getting up and going for a walk can bring some movement into our emotional lives and into our spiritual lives that can help us move to the next step with the processing phase. The second phase is the response that we begin to give. And here's where we can really begin to come up with some positive actions, some positive habits that we can begin to implement. With our finances, we've talked for years and years about the importance of counting. Well, all of us can count. And so going into counting what's going on with our cash flow, what's going on with our net worth, what's going on with our investments, that level of counting a lot of times can really help begin the recovery or the response to what's been going on and how we're processing. And it's very common to move back and forth between the processing and the response.
Right.
So that's that's all part of it. And then the last couple steps, the recovery. What will it look like on the other side of this? It's difficult when we're in the middle of it to really define that or to really know. And I hear that talked about quite a bit in the talking heads on the news and so forth. They're grasping at this point for what the recovery looks like. Nobody really knows because we're still in the middle of it. We're still processing and responding. And then, of course, the last step is reflecting. We've probably all had that experience of coming across someone who's ready to reflect when we're still in the processing mode, and that doesn't always go so well. There is a time to reflect and look back and say, hey, what did we learn from this? Now it's, in my opinion, way too early because we're just in the thick of this thing and fighting for a way to get through it.
It's tough to Monday morning quarterback when it's still Sunday afternoon. And,
right.
Yeah. So advice for people, and I would say guys especially have a hard time with some of these things. We just want to put our head down, and but it's important to process these things and to think about it.
It is. We all know, I think we have an intuitive sense of where we can go to nurture ourselves, take care of ourselves. Those are the places that are very important during this time. Now, if some say, well, what really helps me is to go out to the movies. Well, yeah, you're going to have to adapt at this point in time. Maybe for others it's a good long bike ride or a good long bath or whatever. All of us fill in that blank a little differently. those are very important activities if you're in the processing phase and the response phase, that you keep embracing and you keep making time for those types of activities.
And being a financial services company, we want to mention again that you want to separate the emotion from some of the processes you're going through with your money.
Yeah, very true. Whenever you insert emotion into financial decisions, the probability for a potential mistake escalates. And so it's very important to get that removal of the emotion from the financial process.
And have someone to bounce things off of, and that's what we're here for. You can find us at compassiowa.com, and our phone number, if you want to talk some things through, get some questions answered, is 515-327-1020.